Have you ever been to White Oaks, New Mexico? The ghost town of White Oaks, New Mexico. It's about 3 miles north. Well, to get to it, you go 3 miles north of Carrizozo, New Mexico on Highway 54, turn right on Highway 349, and go 9 miles to the town. We have just turned off of Highway 54, so we've got 9 miles to get to the town. So we're going to do two videos about the ghost town of White Oaks. We'll do this one driving to the town, and then when we get there, I'll do another one driving around the town. Won't that just be exciting? as exciting as my videos ever are, okay? And we're going to cruise along here at about 35 miles an hour, and we can because there's very little traffic on this road. It's certainly not high traffic. There is a bar there in White Oaks called No Scum Allowed Saloon, I think. And the little town itself has been a setting for scenes in several movies, as far as I know. I came out here a couple of years ago, and I can't remember the name of the movie, but Tommy Lee Jones was in it. And I watched them setting up a bar scene and all kinds of stuff. Pretty interesting. But if you've ever seen the extras and everybody milling around getting ready for the scene to be shot, it ruins movies for you for the rest of your life. All right? Because from then on, every time you see a movie, you realize that it's just a series of connected scenes. And in your mind, you're thinking, well, I wonder how long they had to wait for this shot, or I wonder what happened that delayed it, or whatever. But anyway, enough said. We're headed to the ghost town of White Oaks, New Mexico. It's actually called a ghost town. I haven't seen any ghosts there. I'm sure there might be if you believe in ghosts. But it used to be an old gold mining town. I think there's people there even today that still mine for gold there. And back in the 1870s, I think it was, when they had the Lincoln County Wars, Lincoln County, where they were having the quote wars, as the crow flies, is only about 20 miles from White Oaks. And so it is, the story goes that every now and then Billy the Kid, alias William Bonney, would come here to this bar and kill people, I guess. I don't know what he did. Came over and got drunk, I guess, or chased girls and stuff. Whatever he did, because on horseback, that would have been a nice half-day ride, probably, leisurely. And yeah, that was the mode of transportation then. And I don't know why the town dried up, but it did. I guess the gold mine ran out. And near here also, I don't know, further, I guess that would be further north of here, there was a place where they made bricks. They did. But there was a rail track that came through that town. Don't know the name of it. I may think of it. It's another little ghost town. So there's several little ghost towns out here in New Mexico, and I could probably do a series of videos on quote ghost towns in New Mexico, but I'm not. Why? Well, because I do me, and that ain't part of it, But it is neat. And when I left Capitan this morning, this is a Saturday morning. This will probably come up on a Thursday, Friday, whenever. It doesn't matter. And but when I left Capitan this morning, Capitan, New Mexico, where I have a home base, the temperature was like 50 degrees and overcast and, just not pretty. Well, I drive over the mountain 20 miles away to get to Carrizozo, got me a Dr. Pepper, and now I'm going to White Oaks, and look at this. Partly cloudy, sunny, and the temperature shows to be 70 degrees outside. So what a difference 20 miles makes. And I'm sure it was the same for William Bonney and all the other settlers back in the 1870s and so forth, that they thought, well, the weather's cold here, so I'll just go down the mountain to White Oaks and go to the bar and get plowed, Yeah, this is a neat little drive. We get into the mountains up here a little bit, and but it's just surrounded on both sides by big ranches. None of this land, as far as I know, is for sale. Uh, but the town itself is about 12 miles from Carrizozo, which really doesn't have much. They got a dollar store. They've got some one or two little restaurants in town. No grocery store. They have a gas station there that has fast food and a few grocery items. And so when you're out here at White Oaks, you're kind of in the boonies. Yep. And people, people that live here choose to be here because they want to be away from people, large populations for sure. Of course, did they have their little saloon to party hardy at and do whatever. There's an old school there. We'll check it out. That'll be the second part of the video. So this is part 1 of 2 of White Oaks, New Mexico. Population, I don't know, maybe 50. It's not much. You can't have too many ghosts in one spot, or they start making a lot of noise. So you got to be careful with that. And do they count ghosts in the U.S. Census? Well, no. It takes 4 ghosts to make 1 human. How do I know that? Because I just made it up. But it's certainly a pleasant drive. There is one car coming behind me, and they're not going to be too pleased. Well, they're not close. They're about a half a mile behind me. But I'm certainly not going to be in a hurry. This is a windy little road, in the middle of nowhere. And if anybody's in a hurry to get to White Oaks, I can't imagine what for. I mean, it's nothing there. You don't need to be in a hurry to get to White Oaks. Now, if you're leaving White Oaks and going somewhere else, you might have some justification. I like little drives like this. Obviously, I do it all the time. And I put the towel out for you. Every time I come down these old roads, though, I just have flashbacks of people on horseback, and there were no fences. Well, I doubt that there were fences like this back then. Probably most of this was open range, and so that's kind of the way that went. But was it a tough life? Well, if we went back there, it would be tough for us, but they grew up with it, and so it was just the way it was. We look back on it and say, oh, it must have been horrible, no running water, well, they had wells, no electricity, no smartphones. Can you imagine that? Good God. If I walk out of my RV in Capitan and get in my car and I don't have my smartphone, I go, oh no. My son calls them a pacifier, like an electronic pacifier, and that's kind of what they are. So this person isn't in too much of a hurry because they're not passing and it's a no passing zone. So that's good to know. This is just pleasant, it's just a pleasant way to live, taking little drives like this. And I guess I'd say enjoying my life the way I choose to. Oh, here's something else I'll mention. I may do another video about it in more detail, but I bought me from Amazon a headset thing, a wired headset that plugs into the Pixel phones. And yeah, you don't have to have any adapter or anything. It just plugs into the charging port, and you can listen to audible books on the phone. And I tried it last night for the first time, and the good news is it works. You get good sound, and yeah, it's quite pleasant, except for one thing. if you're like, I was having my evening snack and listening to the audio book, and guess what? When you're chewing your food with a headset or the thing plugged into your ears, it sounds like somebody's driving a truck in your head. You know what I mean? Crunch, crunch, crunch. So uh, that part didn't work. So what I did is I took the headset off and unplugged it from the phone so the sound would come out from the phone, and it worked fine because I got a little stand that I can put on my TV tray, and yeah, just set the phone there and listen to the audio book, and yeah, it was a good old Western, you know, Louis L'Amour stuff. So it's kind of, it kind of blends in with this uh, area, you know, there, because there were a lot of old cowboy types out here, and you know you had to be pretty rugged to survive. And what's that got to do with the price of turnips in Guatemala? Nothing, nothing. As you all know, uh, I've mentioned it other. We get so much useless news that it's totally embarrassing, and it gets in our head and we can't get it out. And so what I recommend is don't let it in. Got a sign there that says 25 miles an hour. Got a little S curve here. Yeah, we're getting close. We're not far. It's a pretty drive. Again, have I said that before? Probably 8 times. Well, it's a pretty drive. So you enjoy it. It shows mile 7, so we got 2 more miles to go. It said 9 miles. Yeah, I can see the little town up there. You probably can't. But we get to the town, I'll end the video and then I'll start another one so that we don't just have one long video that's too damn long. A good length video is around 15 minutes or so. You know, well, 8 to 15 in that range seems to work pretty good. White Oaks, New Mexico. There's a sign there that tells a little bit about it. I probably should have pulled up there and read it. It says 1845 to like something 1881. It was a mining gold here. They have a museum. I've been in it. May go in it again. It's kind of a honor system thing. You put a little donation in if you choose to. I usually leave $5 if I have it. Do not pass. It would be a pleasant place to live. I don't think there's any cell phone signal here, or else it's very spotted. On my Verizon phone, it says no service, so that tells you something. You know, they have some of the old mining equipment still here that you can check out if you choose to, if you're into gold mining. You know, I understand there's people in Alaska that still pan for gold, and some of them do pretty good. Okay, mile marker number 8. And as soon as I can pull over somewhere, I'm going to let this car go by. Okay, here's another sign we'll pull up to. We're in White Oaks right now. And I'm going to pull up here and read this sign and then start video number 2. All right, I'll zoom a little bit so you might be able to read that. I don't know. It's off to the right there. But anyway, it says White Oaks, official scenic historic marker. White Oaks grew rapidly after the discovery of gold in 1869. From tent city to bustling mining town, it was the largest town in Lincoln County with cultural events and an occasional bandit. Gold depletion and failure to grant railroad right-of-way caused its demise. Cedar Vale Cemetery, resting place of many White Oaks residents. And with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rusty78609 saying thumbs up from White Oaks, New Mexico. Let me get this back to normal. There we go. And yeah, drink plenty of water, stretch, walk, stand guard at the door of your mind, and enjoy your life the best you can. Get out and take a drive. Come to White Oaks and go to the No Scum Allowed bar. Bye.